our day require a voice that speaks for biblical principles and holds up Christian ideals. We want to hear from you. The program is In Focus.
Good evening and welcome once again to In Focus. I'm your host, Valerie Moore, hoping you had a wonderful week. Well, weather-wise, certainly a mixed bag, a little bit of snow, some rain tonight. Please do drive carefully if you're headed out anywhere. A little bit tricky tonight, lots of traffic, and we're glad to have you with us as we bring in March, coming in sort of like a semi-lion tonight, if you will. We've certainly been through the gamut of weather and experiences since we undertook the show just a couple of months back, went through the fall, the holidays, the winter season, busy season. Now here we are heading into March, and time does go by quickly as we do head into the third month already of the new year. Certainly good news as far as the Persian Gulf situation goes, and I'm sure that the thoughts and prayers of the nation are still with those soldiers and people involved, still hoping to come home very soon. And again, our best wishes with all of your family members that may be there, friends and family members, our condolences to those in our very state who have had, unfortunately, people lost in this very serious war. Well, we hope it's been a good week for you once again and that you're able to sit down, relax tonight, and enjoy this Friday evening with us as we take a look at issues that affect you and affect your families. We have, again, a couple of guests with us who are very active in the pro-life community this evening. Elizabeth Wagi is here from the Missionaries to the Preborn, along with her children, Beth Rella and Stephen Rella. It's nice to have you here with us this evening. We haven't had any teenagers before on our show, and it's nice to make a precedence, maybe, or break a precedence, and have your whole family here this evening. Nice for you to be here. Glad you could be with us. Now, we understand, have gotten involved in the pro-life community quite actively, and I was wondering if you would tell us, first of all, your experiences and how you came into the pro-life community and into being active in it.
Okay, well, God kind of worked me into it really slowly. It started before I was a Christian when I had a crisis pregnancy with my daughter, and just things that I felt and thought about then. And then a few years later, I became a Christian, and somebody told me abortion was wrong, and I thought, well, yeah, I know that. And it took me quite a few more years before God really showed me that I should be doing something about it besides saying, well, I'm personally opposed, but I wouldn't tell anybody else what to do. And I went to a rally in Texas where we were shown a dead baby who'd been killed by a saline abortion. And
now, what is that?
A saline abortion is when it's usually done the second trimester of pregnancy, where they inject a salt solution into the mother, and the baby swallows it, and it's burned to death and suffocates from the salt solution.
What did that baby look like?
She was a real pretty baby. She was just small, probably about maybe 7 inches long, and she was a perfect baby, but she had black marks all over her body and around her mouth. And my kids were with me at the time.
By how many months was this baby?
I think she was about 5.5 months.
So fully formed?
Yes. And God was just showing me that, these really are babies that are being killed, and we really have an obligation to do something about it. And I didn't even know where to go at that time to do something about it. And on the way back from Texas, we'd just been visiting there. Somebody that we visited in Kansas told me about a crisis pregnancy center right where I lived. And so I started counseling there. And after that, my pastor told me about Operation Rescue in Milwaukee that was starting. And I got involved with Operation Rescue in March '89.
So when was this that you were in Texas, and how did you hear about the rally when you were there? Was it just with your friends, or?
Yeah, I was visiting a sister, and she just happened to tell me that there was a rally that they wanted to go to, and I said, sure, So it was Melody Green was having the rally down there, and we went to a hospital and prayed around outside the hospital where they were killing babies down there, and that was the first thing I'd ever really done actively at all.
So how old were your kids then? This is about 2 years ago then, or so?
This was about 4 years ago.
4 years
that I
ago
went there.
that you went to the rally.
Yeah.
And that must have made an impression on them.
I think it must have, yeah. And they surely weren't in any doubt that they were killing babies at that time. And Beth really wanted to help work at the Crisis Pregnancy Center, but they wouldn't let her counsel people either.
Okay. I just want to ask the kids, young adults, may I say. Stephen, what were your feelings when you were at this rally, and what do you remember as your feelings and responses to that?
Well, I didn't really know a lot about it at the time, and I looked over into this coffin they had, and then there was a baby in it, and I wondered why there was a baby in it, and my mom told me, and then
In the coffin? The baby was in the coffin?
Yeah. And then after that, since that was when I was 13, we went to picket an abortion clinic and stuff, and ever since that we've been picketing, and then missionaries to the preborn prisoners came along, and then we started rescuing them and stuff.
And I want to also ask Beth, what have been some of your experiences or reactions, and what do you remember about that rally in Texas?
Well, I just remember seeing the baby in the coffin, and I was kind of sad.
Did it look like a real baby to you?
Mm-hmm.
Were you convinced that it was a real baby and not just a fetus or an unformed thing?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what was what did you do when you came back then? Were you anxious to get involved, or did it take a while, or?
So it took a while till my mom started picketing and rescuing. And then I wanted to rescue, but they wouldn't let me for a long time.
Okay. So Elizabeth, getting back to your story then, you decided that you wanted to become involved in in counseling at first.
Right.
Okay. So what were your steps then?
They trained me to be a counselor at this helpline, and they told me more about how the procedures were done, and I don't know, like I would be on call a certain amount of times a month, and girls that wanted to have somebody help them with their pregnancies could call the number or ask any questions, about being pregnant and stuff.
Did you find that most girls don't know much about pregnancy and haven't been really shown the fact that this is a real baby and that it's a real life, or did you feel that most girls instinctively knew that, or what were your perceptions about the people you counseled?
Well, my first client really surprised me because she knew exactly about baby development. She knew it was a baby, and she was still determined to kill it. And I was just like, she knew everything I knew, and she still said, no, I'm still going to kill this baby. All she wanted was a pregnancy test, which, it was positive, and I did the pregnancy test on her. But I was just really surprised that was, she knew everything and was still planning to go ahead with it. It was really scary.
Do you feel that's the majority of your experiences, though, when working with pregnant women?
Not the majority of them, but I think that most women really do know that it's a baby. A lot of them won't admit it, and a lot of them have been told that it's not a baby and believe what they're told. But I think that naturally any mother who's pregnant really does know that she's pregnant with a child, and even if she's denying it, she knows what she's doing.
However, has it been your experience that when a woman does go in for an abortion, is she ever shown any pictures of the stage the baby is at, or any pictures of intrauterine activity or development? Have you ever known anyone who did go in and was given this information?
Actually, in Milwaukee, sometimes they do show them the ultrasounds, and sometimes girls change their minds after seeing the ultrasounds, and but they still keep telling the girls it's really not a baby, it's a fetus. But once the girl sees the ultrasound, what is she going to be? I mean, it's obvious, it's a child. But the abortion clinics, like even yesterday, they kept saying, oh, it's really just an egg. And it's like an egg. I don't know.
Yeah. So then you were involved with this counseling.
Right.
And then how did you move out into the next phase of your activities?
Well, Melody Green, who I went to the rally in Texas to hear her speak, had taken part in the Atlanta rescues, and I got a mailing from her describing the rescue in Atlanta, and she said this is something that needs to be done, that God is working in the hearts of people to actually physically intervene for the children, and it was something I was interested in doing, but I wasn't going to go to Atlanta to do it. And then my pastor informed me that they were doing it in Milwaukee, and Madison was going to start rescues, and so I went to a pre-rescue rally, and my first rescue was in March '89.
So this was about 2 years after you had been to the original rally in Texas.
Right.
And during those 2 years, were you convinced that you needed to do more, or were you convinced, and did you start to see more and more that you had to get involved, or how did this come about? Did you just decide that, you were seeing too many babies being killed, even though you knew people were doing counseling and doing their best?
No, that was a large part of it, was just seeing the girls who were still going to go and kill their children after I talked to them. And it's like, what do you do at that point, I mean, it's still a real child that's really going to be killed. And one of them, I even knew when and where she was going to go kill her child, but I didn't, that was before I rescued, and I didn't really, know there was anything to be done, because up to that point, everybody had been saying, don't break the laws, don't trespass, don't do anything like that. And so that was just the accepted thing to do at the time, was not to trespass. And once Operation Rescue started, and people could show me biblical reasons why we should intervene for the children physically, and I really believed God wanted me to do that.
So then, in 1989, you joined up with this movement. What were your earliest experiences then in your work with missionaries to the preborn? How did it start?
Okay, that was before missionaries to the preborn started. They've only been, missionaries have started last September.
Oh, okay.
And before that, it was just rescue operation.
Rescue operation, okay.
And
which has become missionaries to the